It was so jarring to land in Hong Kong and go from visiting Disney to then the next morning touring the dark side of Hong Kong.
Beneath the glitter and glamour of Hong Kong, there's staggering inequality and a crippling housing crisis.
Immediately when we started the tour guide, who was a local there, who actually grew up in one of the poorer districts in Hong Kong, established that this isn't a competition between which country has the most amount of poverty, because all over the world there are cities with a lot of people in need there. But going from New York, I've seen so much, from homeless to people in need of psychiatric help and treatment to people who are violent because they need those things. And then to come to Hong Kong, which is such a quiet, beautiful, rich-looking city that seems so calm, and figure out that the dark side is truly in the dark. It's hidden. It's such a metaphor. The dark side of Hong Kong doesn't just mean it's a bad side, it means it's quite literally hidden. The government does not want to advertise that Hong Kong has these poor parts, so this organization aims to bring that into the light, to bring the government's attention to how they should help with this situation. Now, we toured the dark side and we saw some people living in those conditions, but it wasn't like a zoo. We know they are human. We were just trying to stay out of the way and see from like a distance and like the neighborhood, mostly the homes that they live in, which the organization who gave us the tour actually rented out so that we can see what it's like.
1.2 million US dollar.
The first thing he showed us was how skyrocketed the rent prices were. Hong Kong consistently ranks one of the most expensive cities in the world, with a one-bedroom apartment averaging around 3,000 close to the center of the city, which for the amount that people make in the city, that doesn't make sense. And for a subdivided unit, it can cost anywhere from 4,000 to 10,000 Hong Kong dollars, so that's 500 to 1,200. For like less than 100 square foot apartment with not even a bathroom or a kitchen.
You already rent. It's 100 square feet.
Yeah.
It's a 600, almost 700 US dollar per month. Okay. This book made by one charity, so that more people will realize Hong Kong has such a problem. This is called cage house. We decorate the cage, just show you an example. But as a subdivided unit, no need the cage. Rooftop, very hot in the summer. Coffin house we call. Bigger than the cage, 2,500 Hong Kong dollar per month. Meters, utilities does not cover. The rent does not cover any utilities. You pay rent, you pay utilities, so they have to separate you. This is a typical one, like this size. A family living inside. If all the stuff will look like this, their income, they will try to minimize the common area, like the corridor, the outdoor.
So a lot of lower income residents live in these subdivided flats that are seriously violating some building regulations. But like I've seen in New York, there's not really like government officials checking to see if landlords are following the rules in these places. So people tend to live on top of each other or have like really bad living conditions. And to shove like a whole family in less than 100 square feet is actually such a big safety risk, because if you think about that, you're basically like breathing each other's air like super close. Like that can't be good for ventilation, and that's a fire hazard. And the flat that we saw had literally like no window. We were all shocked at the living conditions, and the tour guide also explained to us that a lot of these lower income residents can't afford a doctor, so they go and see like this holistic health practitioner, or they go and get these like herbal teas to serve different health needs. After seeing the apartment, we explored the neighborhood with the tour guide. And he explained that there is a lot of illegal activity going on in these neighborhoods, some organized crime. And we were walking down a street with so many spas and he told us to notice how many there are. Pointed out that sometimes if you see a blinking sign, there are sex workers there. A lot of smuggling goods and black market activity. I mean, walking around, I didn't feel unsafe at all. Well, especially because I was with a group. There was still like a lot of families and kids walking around, so I felt fine during the day.
Money moved to Singapore, moved to other places. They see the risk to keep the money in Hong Kong.
What was crazy is that although there are these packed houses, I didn't see any homeless. That's when the tour guide told us that they hide the homeless. They've built like barricades underneath the bridges so you can't see them. They're constantly kicking them out of parks so they can't build like little huts for themselves. Homeless people have to set up temporary tents that they can take down if the police were to come and tell them to get out. Real estate companies have been wanting to come and buy all these buildings, and the city has been wanting to clear out these places where lower income residents are living. If they were to go and build skyscrapers and nicer homes for people to live in and regulate those, there's nowhere for those lower income residents to go because there's no way of affording those brand new shiny houses. There's just so many concerns with these living conditions, like environmentally, mental health wise, and like the social inequality of this situation. And I can't even think of solutions. Like, I'm not an economist, but there are a lot of ways that other cities in the world have tried to tackle this problem that have worked, but it's so different from city to city. And I feel like the best thing that we can do as people far away is like not throw money at the situation, but to pray. I had a little bit of a rough living condition for my first apartment in New York. The shower would regularly break, so I would shower at the gym, and there was like a lot of like cockroaches and mice. But I was still super grateful to have like shelter that was rent stabilized. And after I moved out of my first place, I lived in this like international housing hosted by like a sweet woman who traveled the world, and so she made this for those who identified as female to come and share this house. There was like 4 girls per bedroom. What are you trying to do? When it was full, 10 of us there total. Some people were in and out. I met some of my best and closest friends there, but that was still a lot more space. We had a big living room and a separate kitchen and a separate bathroom. It wasn't like in these homes in Hong Kong, we weren't like so on top of each other. We weren't cooking where we were sleeping, eating, and using the bathroom. There it's like all in one tiny space. And people deserve enough room to dance around if they wanted to and not bump into each other and anything. I can't imagine the mental toll it takes to share that small of a space, or to even not have a home, of course. These are basic human rights. It's such a complex thing. Luckily, there are organizations out there. I'm not linking anything below because I recommend that everyone always do your own research. Going from the dark side of Hong Kong, we went and did the touristy things just to lighten up a bit. So going from the low points in life, we had to immediately do the high points. And those high points took some climbing.
When I think about yesterday,
That one is so cute.
My, oh my, my, oh my, we're kissing, so I did. Since I met you, I feel unbreakable. Since I met you, I feel unbreakable. Since I met you, I feel unbreakable.
I'm going. I got it. Are there monkeys? 2 minutes in, and I'm already fighting demons. Ooh, deep tropical breaths. One flight of stairs, 3 more to go.
My, oh my, we're kissing, so I did.
On the last day, it was raining, but we took one of those other cable trams. I don't even know what they're called. Oh my gosh. To a huge Buddha statue, which was super iconic. Just so you know, guys. Those were a lot of stairs. 190, 191, 192, 193, 200, like 230. I think I counted wrong, but 230. Man, traveling in hilly places really is like a Stairmaster workout. I highly encourage visiting. It's still a really cool place and really interesting. And there's a lot to do in Hong Kong. A lot of good food to eat. And plus it's warm. It's just like Florida vibes, but in Asia. Then later that day, we looked at the skyline, which was so beautiful. Despite knowing all about the dark side and the fun sides of Hong Kong.